I found in my watering can 2 Peron's tree frogs.
Oh, how cute.
They're really lovely. So I've gone off and done more research. You'll remember last time I had a screaming tree frog. This time I've got 2 Peron's tree frogs. These are a larger tree frog. They're about 7 centimetres from snout to, what did we...
Vent,
that's right. And I tipped the 2 of them out from the watering can because I needed it and put them in one of the bird baths. And immediately I noticed that one of them went straight under the water and just sat there under the water looking at me. And the other one popped straight out onto the side on a rock, also looking at me. I think they were annoyed that I'd interrupted them when I did. But it really brought home to me the fact that these guys are amphibians. Frogs are Australia's only amphibians. And so, as you know, that means that they can breathe both underwater and in plain air, so to speak. And there I was confronted with the image of one way under the water, just happily breathing away down there, and a second one out of the water. Lou's frowning at me because I've said breathing. Frogs have 3 different ways of exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide. One of them, which they use when they're underwater, is that they can literally breathe through their skin. And so you've heard us talk about this before. They're very vulnerable to anything that's in the water that may pass across that barrier. But they also have lungs, although they don't have ribs to open and close their lungs. And they also can breathe through the lining of their mouth. So they've got options, unlike us, for how they choose to breathe. And the Peron's tree frog apparently doesn't come down from the tree at all, except when it's wishing to copulate and put its eggs into a puddle or something down on the ground. And that struck me too, that we haven't mentioned when we've talked about frogs that their spawn is kind of foamy, jelly, bubbly to look at. And sometimes you'll see that on puddles and things. It's really quite interesting. That's their eggs waiting to grow a little bit and turn into taddies.
Sometimes I look in my pond and I see a little flotilla of bubbles. Mm-hmm. And I look very closely to see if indeed they are a flotilla of bubbles or in fact they're frogs. Spawn.
Oh, yeah. And my one final fact about frogs is that frogs don't have necks, or they don't have a spinal neck, so they can't turn their head, which is why every time you see an image of a frog, they look so cute. They are never looking sideways. They can't turn their neck at all.
I was told they look cute because they got big eyes.
Yes.
And people used to say when we were looking at what to put on a front cover in nature magazines, put a frog because it's like putting Princess Di on the front. Yeah.
That actually reminds me of one more frog fact, that they swallow by dipping their eyes down into the roof of their mouth and pushing the food down their throat with their eyes. Just imagine that.